finally, we're back. Sorry for keeping you guys waiting for almost 3 weeks without uploading. Almost. So anyway, enough yapping. And I gotta tell you guys 2 things before we get into this video. It's kind of bad news. I'm changing my upload schedule again. This time, it's gonna be 3 times, maybe 4 times a week, once every 2 weeks. Yeah, also one more thing before we get into this video. If you guys don't mind to go follow the Twitch, it's right here. It's literally right here. I would gladly appreciate it. I go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. Alright. Enough talking, let's get into the video.
Look for me. Damn, I want the line. Always in the north side, chilling with my other guys. You know what it's like.
So in today's video, we're gonna be reacting to true short horror animation videos. Anyway, enough talking, let's get into the video.
My name is Pascal.
What?
I'm 22
Pascal.
years old now, but this event happened 3 years ago when I was 19. It happened in the middle of the night when my parents were away for an important company meeting. The company was kind of far away from where we lived, so I stayed home by myself while they were gone. One time, while I was at home alone, I looked out the window randomly and froze. There was a tall man, almost dressed entirely in black.
Yo, the fit goes
A
hurt.
tuxedo.
The fit goes hurt.
holding a kitchen knife.
This is a big
This
knife,
guy
man.
was standing right outside of the door, looking at me. He wasn't laughing at all, and his head was twitching continuously. "Sir, please get off our property, otherwise I'll call the police." I opened the window and told him. Then the man replied, "Oh, you can do that if you want, as long as you don't look away."
What?
Because of this strange attitude, I felt anxious. So I grabbed my cell phone and called the police. But when I looked out the window again, he was gone.
Nick, didn't he just tell you not to
I
take
heard
his eyes
footsteps
off him?
coming from downstairs.
No, wait, not for you not to take your eyes off him.
That I forgot to lock my garden door, so it was still open. I thought I was gonna die at first, but then I pulled myself together. I got my bat and looked down the stairs, slowly, trying not to make a sound. There he was. He was just staring at me.
Oh my!
He didn't move,
Yo.
but said, "I told you not to look away."
Yeah, really, no, he
A
did.
few moments
He did tell
later,
you
we
that.
heard sirens. The man still did not move. But then he suddenly changed his mind and walked over to me. I tried to swing my bat towards him, but I was so scared. I couldn't do anything except scream. The police broke down the door. One policeman tried to arrest him, and the other one tried to take the knife away from him, but the man resisted. He was strong. Even though he was outnumbered, they couldn't stop him. They threatened to shoot him in the foot, but he didn't care. Furthermore, he attacked the 2 policemen, and they tumbled down to the ground. I ran to one of the rooms and slammed the door shut, but he kicked in the door. When the door opened, I could see his face, and I will never, ever forget that moment. However, at that very moment, the police caught up to him and shot his foot. The guy started screaming in pain.
Okay.
Shortly after that, he managed to jump outside of a window and disappeared. The policemen chased after him, but unfortunately, they failed to arrest him. I never saw that guy again. I'm glad that I survived that incident, but I also feel nervous that he'll come to my house again.
Sure, move
That
houses,
day
bro.
on, I always made sure I locked all the doors and windows.
Ooh, damn. Ha. So, yeah. I mean, that was not that bad. It was not that bad. I'm not gonna lie, it was not that bad. Let's get into the next short horror animation. Man, that was quick.
When I was a teenager, I would often explore the deep web with my friends, specifically weird stuff on Hidden Wiki. There were definitely a lot of links to choose from. I never clicked on the violent links because I'm not into that. My friend Latrice told me
Latrice?
to click on one that says new best friend. After doing so, it takes you to a page where you have to make a profile. I put the name Lisa on my profile. My real name is Susan. Once I made the profile, you are directed to a main page that has categories. They were silly, serious, smart, and smothering.
Why the
We
fuck
click
click
smothering.
smothering?
I thought it was funny. After choosing, there was a list of people with their pictures, male and female. I clicked on a profile of a guy that had the name 5, like the number 5. I entered, and it didn't seem like someone who would be a smothering friend. When I was searching through his profile, I received a message from him asking if I were looking for a friend. I looked at Latrice, and she laughed, but also told me to respond yes. So we're messaging back and forth for maybe 30 minutes, and then Latrice had to go. I told him I'll be back on tomorrow, and he said okay. Maybe a week went by where I would talk to him every night. He seemed very nice, so we exchanged numbers so we could talk more.
Off the deep web, really?
Everything seemed fine until I clicked on another profile and someone else messaged me. I started talking with this other person, but still was texting the guy 5, which I knew his real name now as William. The new guy had the name Bill on his profile. A day went by, and he seemed cool, but then William randomly asked me why I was talking with Bill.
How do you know that?
I didn't know what to say, so I never responded. He kept texting with angry messages, so I blocked him. I didn't receive any texts, only a single message on that site, and it said soon. One day after school, my friend Latrice came over to have a sleepover. We got comfortable, went to my room, and did our usual of surfing through the web, being nosy. I brought up that guy. Then I received a text message that said, "Why'd you block me?" from a random number. I replied with a question mark. Then it replied, "It's me, William." He texted me from another number after I blocked him. I told Latrice how creepy this guy is. Then Latrice stopped me from talking because she thought she heard something. Then I heard a voice. "I'm not that creepy."
What?
We both responded by screaming and looking around. I saw someone coming from under my bed, so we ran screaming out of my room, and my mother called the cops. They didn't get him because he left through my window, and nothing could be traced back to him. I'm starting to think that he was both of the people I was talking to. That definitely opened my eyes to the dangers of the internet. I will never visit the dark web again.
Damn! Wow. Take it from this girl. Don't go on it. Just stay curious. Just stay curious. And nothing like that will happen to you. But yeah, so stay with me here. Don't go anywhere. Let's get to the next one. Let go.
My name is Dan. This happened 3 years ago. I moved out of my parents' house once I started making a steady paycheck.
That's
I'm a
valid.
plumber, and one day I had to go to someone's house to fix some pipes. There was a married couple and their daughter living there. Their daughter was 22 at the time.
She's low-key a
She was
baddie.
6 months older than me, and her name was Amanda. While I was working, she was talking to me, asking if I was single and stuff like that. And to be honest, she seemed pretty cute. We exchanged phone numbers and eventually started dating. And she even moved into my house. We were 3 months into our relationship. And stuff
3 months and you're already
started
moving in with
together
each
again.
other.
She was always getting mad and annoyed so easily. She always started arguments and so on. This began to happen all of the time, even in public, which was incredibly embarrassing. One day I had enough and I had to break up with her, and I told her to leave and never come back. Amanda was pretty pissed off when I said that. I just ignored her when she was packing her stuff. She finally left, or so I thought. After that day, she would always show up at my house, harass me, throw rocks at my window,
Yeah, why'd she look like
and
that?
so on. I'd called the cops many times, but she was gone by the time they showed up. About a month later, when I came home from working, I would find her in her house, yelling at me to come back, or I'd find writing on my walls that would say, "Come back, or I'll kill you." The writing eventually went from pencil to marker, and then her own fucking blood. And Jess, I'm being serious when I said blood. That bitch carved my name a bunch of times into her arms and legs. She only got into my house because I forgot to take the house key back from her at the time. In hindsight, I'm such an idiot, I know. That psycho knew where my parents lived and showed up to their house during the night. My mom almost had a heart attack when she woke up to the sound of a knife being tapped on the window glass. When she woke up, she saw Amanda standing there, staring at her while psychotically smiling at her. Amanda did a lot, which really pissed me off, so one night, I decided to stay overnight at my parents' house. It was about 2 in the morning when I heard a tapping noise in the window next to me. I turned and saw Amanda staring right at me. Her eyes were wide open and red. She had bags under her eyes and a huge smile. I went outside and started yelling at her to stay away from me and my family, but she screamed at the top of her lungs and charged at me with a knife. I punched her right in the face, which knocked her out. I called the cops and made sure Amanda didn't wake up while they were arriving. The cops came quickly while Amanda was knocked out. They found my house key on her, and she was arrested and eventually sentenced for a long while. After Amanda was sentenced, my parents and I moved out of state because we'd like to stay as far away from Amanda as we possibly can, because she will eventually be released.
No! So we got the more crazy version of Love Queen from you. Alright. And also like more obsessive, creepier. So, enough talking. Let's get into another one.
This happened to me at the beginning of this year, just after I lost my husband to meningitis. I had moved in with my father and taken a job at a local hotel.
What's with this creepy?
It was a nice, cushy job that wasn't very stressful, and it was also nice to me in my grief-stricken state. The job was the night shift front desk manager position. So I was watching scary movies or listening to creepy podcasts that seemed to help keep me awake. My husband had never liked scary things like I did, so it was nice getting back to something that was mine. Being the night worker, I was always by myself during my shift. The hotel was new, so it wasn't creepy to be by myself, especially since there was always someone around as far as guests went, and on top of that, my boss was always a phone call away. I knew I'd have backup if needed. Anyway, it was a night like any other. I was in the back office behind the desk, watching the cameras and listening to a podcast while twirling a pen around, waiting for hours to tick away. The hotel was pretty empty, so I felt more alone than usual. I looked down at my phone as my podcast ended and went to pick another one when I noticed movement outside the building on the cameras. A guest was walking in. I hadn't seen a car pull in from the driveway camera, but I chalked it up to me just not paying attention and went to the desk. The man walked in and I quickly noticed his clothes were dirty, tattered, and that he had this odd smell to him. Metallic smelling. I shook off the weird feeling and looked up at his face before greeting him. And I noticed that his eyes weren't on me, but the wall behind, just above me. I followed his gaze, wondering what he could be looking at, but there wasn't anything there. I was confused, but thought maybe he was lost in thought. I greeted him again, but his gaze still remained on the wall.
Looking for a way to get in.
I was starting to get freaked out, but kept my cool and cleared my throat. "Sir, is there something I can help you with?" I asked more firmly. Quickly, his eyes flicked down, and those eyes were wide and crazy looking. It startled me enough that I took a small step back. His previously blank expression grew into that of a crazed, wide smile. He was missing teeth, and the second his lips parted, I could smell his rotten breath. It made my stomach churn. Before I could open my mouth, I watched his eyes slowly creep up and down my body, as if he were undressing me with his eyes. Then his eyes moved to my hand, and his smile faded into a hate-filled glare. His eyes were on my wedding ring. Well, yes, I still wore it, as I wasn't ready to give it up yet. "What the heck is that?" he asked, his voice thick and gruff and full of anger. "My wedding ring, sir. I'm married," I said, thinking maybe he was drunk. His glare got worse as his eyes met mine again. Married? You lying bitch! You never told me you were married!
Damn.
You lied to me! Sir, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm afraid that I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I was so
Why is she crying?
scared at that moment, but tried desperately not to cry. He was still shouting at me. So, you're kicking me out of my own home? You're a little hussy. I'm taking what's owed to me. Get over here! He reached across the counter to try and grab me, and I let out a scream, stumbled back, tripping over my long skirt.
Oh my.
I crawled
Of course you
quickly
trip
for the
over
office
something.
door as he rushed to the counter. He grabbed my shirt, tearing it down the back as I went to slam the door shut, and I slammed it on his hand, making him scream in pain as I heard the bones break. As he let me go, I managed to finally shut and lock it
got a
before
little
going
weight to
into
her.
my boss's office. And as I dialed 911, I could hear him screaming at the office door, kicking as hard as he could to get it open. The operator stayed on the phone with me until the cops arrived. It took 3 grown officers and a taser gun to take him down and
Man,
get him in
how
the
does
car.
it take 3 officers just to get
When
one
everything
person
was safe, I was sat down for a statement, and my boss and
Who do you
father
think you
were
are?
called. As my father was getting me into his truck, I heard an officer say that the man was a highly wanted man from Florida who had escaped a psychiatric facility. After he escaped the facility, he went looking for young brunette girls who were heavyset like me, or rather like his late wife. He had killed her and cut out her eyes and breasts, and done the same to 2 other girls in Alabama, so I could only guess he planned to do the same to me. Thank God for strong deadbolts and all of the police officers.
Damn! Oh, I was not expecting anything like that. So, yeah.
I'm never working at a hotel.
I was never planning on it, but I'm never
Ever.
going to be working as a hotel. What are they called? Clerks? I'm staying far away from that as possible. So, we made it to the end. Oh, we survived. We survived at last. If you enjoyed this video, go smack the like button. You know what I'm saying. Woo! Alright, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.
Feel like I walk a warrant. I'm telling you, bitch, that he locked up my toilet.